welcome to another episode of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. I'd like to start by reminding everyone that I am not a therapist, I am not a doctor, and I'm not a medical professional in any way. Just a regular person trying to navigate through life and navigate what's going on in here. Like I keep saying, I've made some progress, but I still have a long way to go. So, in this episode, I want to get back to my relationship with my significant other, my now ex-wife. It's this is the beginning of our marriage. We were living in Portage in a little tiny apartment, and we were together for a couple of years. And then we decided, we wanted to take the relationship further. So I proposed and she accepted, got her a nice little ring. At the same time, we got pregnant already. So I just wanted to be sure that we were married before other boys came along, which we didn't know that we were having twins in the beginning, but we ended up having twin boys, my baby boys. They are my world. They are everything. They are hands down the best thing that I've ever done with my life was my boys. And I will say, I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for them. This is their place. They're letting me stay here. They're letting me, come on in. And quite honestly, they saved my life. But before they were born, we still had our issues. We still had, whatever was going on. We wanted to get married, but her sister, and I'm not going to touch down on them a lot, but both of her, she has two sisters, and they were very competitive type people. And, I'd like to think that it's just me seeing things, but, it was just when we bought a car, and then she had to make sure that they had a car that was like 1 year newer than ours. Later on, we only ended up having the two boys, but she had to have 3 kids. And again, I could be just reading into it too much, but I was there and I saw the competitiveness. I saw how competitive they were with each other. So it kind of made sense. But back to my boys. We went to a couple of different apartments. We got something bigger because we knew they were coming, so we were trying to prepare. And they were born at 32 weeks. They were very premature. Samson was only 2 pounds, 5 ounces, and Dante was 3 pounds, 15 ounces. So they ended up staying in the neonatal intensive care unit for an entire month. At least they wanted them to get to be as close to 5 pounds before going home. Make sure that they were eating and pooping well and all of that. So and I should mention they were born cesarean. So having an entire month for them to stay in the hospital was good for my ex, because she had time to heal. She had time to relax, and she didn't have to take care of babies right away. She could heal up her body and get strong before bringing the babies home. And that was good. She stayed with her mom while I was at work, so that she had someone to at least kind of take care of her a little bit whenever she needed something. And, like I said before, we managed to get a bigger apartment. We stayed we kind of hopped between Hobart and Portage, and we ended up in Hobart. We had this landlord who was just not very fun. But I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with a little more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Getting back to my baby boys, my world. Was mentioning how we had moved from different apartments, got a place in Hobart with a POS landlord. He was nosy, but quite honestly, we didn't have to deal with him very much. And once the boys came home, things were good. Things were really good. We're brand new parents. We're learning. We're getting all the furniture we need and the cribs and toys, and our families were pretty nice. We had a baby shower and they gave us some nice stuff. So I was appreciative of that. But they were still just moments of passive aggressiveness. Little things. Little things. Like I would go to work and I'd come home from work and she would just say to me, "The garbage is full." And I would look at it and I'd say, "Yeah, it is." And then 20 minutes later, she would say, "The garbage is full." And I would say, "Yeah, it is." And I would say, "Do you want me to take it out? Why don't you ask me to take it out? I'll do it if you ask me, but I'm not going to do it if you're just going to give me these situations and expect me to just fix it." You know, she could have took the garbage out too, but instead she chose to tell me to do it in that way, which was frustrating. And again, I believe that she got a lot of this passive aggressiveness from her mom. Her mom is quite honestly one of the most passive aggressive people I've ever met. Later on in our story here, we'll talk about her a little bit because we stay with her just for a little while. But little things, little things. And again, I overlooked it. We're still new parents. We're still figuring things out. It's okay. But the more I overlooked, the more it just kind of started to weigh on me. Next thing I know, all this weight is on my shoulders because of all these little things that just weren't perfect. And if they're not perfect, I was going to hear about it. And my main concern was really just keeping the peace. We've got babies in the house. We need to, work together. And it just was never looked at that way. It was always, sides. Or you have to do your share. You have to do your share. We don't have shares. We are both responsible for all of it. But she didn't see it that way. She kind of saw it as I was supposed to be doing certain things. And again, I think she got that from her mom because I believe that her mom has more of the traditional, what's the word I'm looking for? More of the traditional sense of a family where the man works, the man cuts the grass, the man does all the work, the hard work, and the women take care of the babies. Which is fine for their generation, but things were different. Things were a lot different because this age, we had to both work. We couldn't afford to let her stay home and raise babies. We both had to work. We both had to do stuff. But I was still just expected to do, I guess, manly things, whatever that means. But trying to keep the peace, I just would go along. And then I would just do things, and I would just do it. And she would tell me, and I would do it. I wasn't a pushover. I just wanted us to get along and be peaceful. And, I wanted everybody to be happy. And one of the ways of doing that was just going along with everything. And then it only lasts so long, and you only get to a certain point before you break. But I'm going to take a real quick break, and I'll be back with a little more of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Welcome back to This is Rico, trying to heal my inner child. This episode, I'm just touching down on, the birth and arrival of my boys and how things were going for us, how things were going for me, and it was quite the experience, and quite honestly, I would do it over again in a heartbeat. I wouldn't change anything about those baby boys, but it seemed the more I gave of myself, the more I went along with things, the more it was expected, more and more. It was kind of similar to me buying her flowers. In the beginning, I would buy her flowers and she loved it. But then I think I did it too often and it got to a point where I would buy flowers and she would scoff and why are you spending money on flowers? With the gesture just being dismissed and now me feeling like a burden because oh man, I spent money on flowers and I shouldn't have. That's when you try to do something nice for someone and they just kind of push it right back into your face. That's it's frustrating and it's discouraging to say the least. And it reminded me of like the church people. And again, I've talked about religion in a past episode, and I don't I don't hate religious people or Christians. I am only talking about the Christians that I've dealt with in my life. And church people have this attitude that they want you to serve and they want you to give because that's what the Bible says, of supposedly, allegedly. And so if you gave and you served, they weren't going to appreciate it because, well, the Bible says you're supposed to do that. And they didn't appreciate it at all. They didn't. I was there. I gave. I served. I did all kinds of stuff with them, and they treated me like I should have given more. And that's what was happening here. The more I gave, the more was expected. The more I gave, the more was expected, and it was just nonstop. I'd tell her I did something like, "Oh yeah, I went out and cut the grass today." And, well, good. You're supposed to be doing that. That kind of attitude. That's very discouraging when you want things to be nice and you do it. And I guess maybe I shouldn't have done it for some appreciation, but why not? Why can't I get appreciated for the things I do? Why can't I just get a thank you? Why can't I get it looks nice? I couldn't get that at all. Or if I did something and then she would say, well, why didn't you do that? Like it just wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough. It would make me feel guilty. And I felt guilty a lot. I felt like, oh man, I should be doing more. I should be doing more, but I'm not doing enough. So maybe I'm a burden. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'm not good enough. This is happening to me again. And it's happening to me again because I don't know how to fight it. I don't know how to deal with it. I was never taught how to defend myself. I didn't know how to, respond appropriately. I would just cower and let it happen. And then when it was too much and it weighed me down, then I would lash out in anger. And then I was, blamed for being angry. A constant theme of my life is me getting angry and nobody ever asking me why I was angry. They just were upset with me for being angry. And that was it. They didn't care that they were hurting me. They didn't care that I had my feelings hurt or my heart was breaking. They didn't care. It was just, you're angry. You're an angry person. You're overly sensitive. I heard that so many times. And let me tell you, I am overly sensitive and I'm proud of that. I'd rather feel a lot than nothing. And that's hard to get labeled and it's harder to just be treated like that. Only because they didn't really want to ask why. But I'm going to take another break and I'll be back with the conclusion of this video of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. And I'll be right back. Welcome back to This is Rico trying to heal my inner child. Just want to conclude this video, but I got a few more things I just kind of want to say. Um, Earlier I mentioned us getting married, and I didn't finish the story, but we wanted to get married, but her sister got married 6 months before we wanted to. So her dad was unwilling to really give us a wedding. He wanted us to go to the Moose Lodge in Lowell, his place, and down there. And I said no, thank you. If that's our only option, then we're going to go to the courthouse, which was what we did. We went to the courthouse in Valparaiso and we got it done there. But this was in the beginning. I'm sorry to revert back, but I just thought about that I didn't finish that story. I just wanted to touch down on that. But, getting back to our home life with our baby boys. I was feeling lost. I was feeling like the more I gave of myself, the more I lost of myself. And I really just wanted everything to be right. I wanted everyone to be happy, but kind of overextended the people pleaser. And then, like I said before, you give and then they expect more, and you give and they expect more. And I tried to keep the peace. I tried to be a people pleaser. Nobody liked that at all. So, I just walked on eggshells all the time. Because if I got upset about something, I was blamed for being upset. If somebody else was upset, then I was blamed for them being upset. And that's just how I was treated. And not being myself really showed. It really shows. I mean, I've been here quite a while and I know how it is to fake your way through something. And it always shows. Authenticity is the only way. Being your true, honest self is the only way. But I was taken for granted because, like I said before, the more I give, the more I am expected to give. The more I'm expected, but nobody appreciated any of it. And just wanted the best for everyone. That's all I wanted. But after a while, she just started to focus solely on the boys and herself, but not me. I was kind of left out. And we were warned about this. We were warned if you give all of your attention to your kids, eventually those kids are going to grow up and they're going to move out. And then you're going to be two people that don't know each other anymore because you gave everything to them. And it's exactly what happened. And I was irritated. I was irritated by it all. But again, I'm trying to keep the peace, trying to keep everyone happy. But I kept it all to myself until I would blow up and I would lash out once in a while. And it was like a bad circle. Lather, rinse, repeat. Keep it to myself. Let it blow up. Blamed for blowing up. Keep it to myself. I get angry, lash out, blamed for lashing out. Nobody ever asked me why I was angry. Nobody ever asked me. It was just, you're angry, you don't like it. You're always angry, we don't like it. And that's what I got. It was like my childhood all over again. And I didn't know how to defend myself and I didn't know how to deal with it. So much of the time I would just revert to being a hurt child and just kind of hope it goes away. And it was a rough time. It was a rough time for me. It really was. But I'm going to conclude this video. I'm going to have another episode on our baby boys. We were together for 20 years, so there's going to be a few chapters about the marriage and its effect on me emotionally and personally. But that's for another episode. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will be back with another episode of This is Rico trying to heal my inner child.